All right, I will call this town council work session to order on this December 3rd. Recognize that there is a quorum present. Welcome those who are in attendance, those who are tuned in online. We'll have a brief moment here. Our town clerk is not in attendance. Her father-in-law passed away and they had the service this morning. I attended. Councilman Dwyer was sitting next to me and made me aware that not only had Mr. McKay served in the armed forces, but he'd also served on planning commission for the town of Farmville. And I did not know that. So if you would join me in a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
He was also a life member of the volunteer fire department.
Thank you. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. Ms. Vaughn, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mrs. Amos? Here. Mr. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Dwyer?
Here.
Mr. Parrott?
Here.
Mr. Yolen?
Here.
Mr. Hunter?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Next up is adoption of the agenda. You have the agenda before you. If there are no changes to the agenda, do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, declaration of personal interest. Does anyone wish to make a declaration of personal interest concerning anything on the agenda this evening? Not hearing any, we'll move into our first item of business, which is the presentation by Brown, Edwards and Company on the fiscal year 24-25 financial audit.
All right, good evening. I'm Chris Murray, Director with Brown Edwards. I'd like to start by thanking Julie and her team for another strong audit again this year. I'll give you a brief highlight of the four documents you have for the town. The first one being your annual comprehensive report, which we issued a clean, unmodified opinion again this year. And that document's well over 100 pages, so I'm sure you're not eager to read that entire thing, but if you wanted to focus on the highlights, you could look at the MD&A, the management discussion and analysis. Kind of gives you a condensed version of what happened during the year. Was written by management, so a little more of a plain English version of the accounting. And if you were to compare last year's report and this year's report, you'll see it's a little different. That's because the federal compliance isn't in there, your schedule of federal awards, and our opinion on that. So the federal government issues a well over 2,000-page document that tells us how do we have to test all those grants. Well, that typically comes out in May, June, maybe July. Well, that was delayed with the federal government. Then the shutdown happened. So we didn't get that document, and it was released, I think, Wednesday afternoon when everybody was heading out for Thanksgiving. So now we haven't completed that federal testing. We're working on completing the federal testing, but it wasn't enough time to complete it and issue a full report. I think we might have issued separate reports back during the COVID days. But right now, we've issued a document, a clean, unmodified opinion on your financials, and we'll issue a separate, much smaller report with just an opinion on your federal compliance once we finish that. If you wanted to look at the back of your annual report, that's the schedule of finding and responses. So that's kind of like we say your one-page report card. So you'll see that there's no financial statement findings, so that means no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and no state findings. Used to be a federal section, but we haven't completed that testing, but we don't anticipate any federal findings either. And then we have issued the letters. There's a required communication with those charged with governance. So that's in, if you look at it, it'll say it's in draft, and that's because it refers to the uniform guidance, which is the federal compliance testing. So we'll issue that in final once we finish that testing. That letter lets you know what our responsibilities are, what management's responsibilities are. let you know if we had any disagreements or findings or audit adjustments, which we're happy to say there were none of those either. Then another letter you have is the accounting and other matters. That used to be part of your management letter. So it's just information on upcoming accounting standards. I say it used to be part of the management letter, but you don't have a management letter any longer because of no current year comments and no previous comments that needed to be fixed. So that just reemphasizes the strong audit and management's attention to the recommendations we made in the past year. So then finally, you would have like a financial analysis that kind of takes your financial data, puts it in different ratios and charts, and it gives you the current year and the previous 4 years, and kind of adds some commentary about what the ratios for the 5-year trends. So that's a summary of everything I had for the audit, and I'll take any questions y'all might have.
Do you have any questions at this time?
In our trends, are we trending in the right direction?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, that as far as if you're like looking at net income or like a business or something like that, we don't look at it that way. But obviously, you're in the right direction if you don't have material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, state findings, significant audit adjustments that we have to come in and find and make. That's obviously in the right direction. That's a strong performance there.
It's like a clean bill of health.
That's right.
Any other questions at this time?
And Mayor, just so you know, every year you have to approve it, but since you just got the documents yesterday, you'll have until next week and we'll get you to approve the audit, that you accept it, and then we can file that with the state.
Thank you. Well, thank you, sir. We
All right.
appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Next up is the finance report by Ms. Julie Moore, our Deputy Town Manager and Finance Director.
I couldn't get my paper to cooperate with me. Okay, good evening. You have the October financial charts and reports in front of you. October marks the 4th month of the fiscal year 26 budget. When we look at revenue compared to budget, as of the end of October, total revenues across all funds were about $6.45 million, or roughly 15% of the annual budget, which is where we expect to be at this point in the year. Many of our major revenues, such as real estate taxes and business licenses, will post later in the year, so the general fund naturally appears behind budget right now. The general fund currently has collected $3.7 million, or about 11% of the annual budget, which is consistent with the timing of when the taxes are billed and received. When we look at revenue compared to prior year, we are currently down about $781,000 compared to prior year, but that's due to timing and one-time events. For example, in fiscal year 25, the Transportation Fund had the sale of a bus. We have not repeated that this year. And then, as I've mentioned in the past, there's some state and local revenue such as sales tax, communication tax, and car rental tax that we've not received yet for October to post, whereas last year it's already been posted. And then the water and sewer revenue are slightly above last year, which is a positive thing. When we look at expenses versus budget, total expenses through October are $9.8 million, or 22% of the annual budget, which is well below the 4-month benchmark of 33%. So that means our overall spending is on track and consistent with our expectations, which are always below what we budget. And when we look at expenses compared to prior year, our total expenses are down $580,000, and that difference is tied to one-time items that we had last year, and they're noted in the charts that you received. Do you have any questions?
Any questions at this time?
Just noticing what you said, the revenue that hasn't come in yet from the taxes.
Yes.
Why hasn't it come in like it did last year?
Oh, it's not, last year it came in late too, but what we do is, so October, like communication or sales tax comes in 2 months behind. So October wouldn't come into December. So when we get it in December, we book it back to October. So when you compare last year, October's in there because we've already booked it back to October. We haven't gotten it this year, so we can book it back to October.
Okay, and then finally, when would the real estate taxes come in? Those are due December 5th, if I remember correctly.
December 15th, I think.
15th?
Yes. And so you're looking at October. We didn't even mail out the real estate until the end of October. So next month, when I'm up here presenting next month, it'll be November, and you'll see the real estate taxes coming in.
Okay, and forgive me, I just want to clarify. We did raise the taxes earlier this year on the real estate. Are those going to be, those rates went in this year, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
so you're going to
So-
see that.
We're going to see a
sir.
significant revenue increase, I would imagine, based on the Prince Edward raising their taxes for the real estate and us raising ours for the real estate as well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Water and sewer enterprise funds are in a good position.
Yes.
Even looking at Venerable Street, we still in a pretty good position.
We don't know that until we put out and we got to our purchasing agent today a RFP to get a structural engineer to look at the failure because we have inside that tunnel there's more cracks, and so there's no sense in just trying to fix the initial collapse and not look at the whole piece of that structure.
Is it true because of the design of that tunnel? Is it, I guess, structurally, it wasn't originally created with any rebar reinforcement?
I think it has a lot to do with the age, and when it was designed back 75, 80 years ago, it didn't take into account the loads that are going to it now.
Increased loads into an older infrastructure.
It's cinder block and brick
Okay.
in some of the areas, so it's a combination of variable things. So that's why we try to get a structural engineer to run the whole system and check the integrity of it and go from there.
Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Moore? Thank you.
Infrastructure.
Well, it's pretty old. It's been, yeah. Speaking of, next item on the agenda is, or do I need to? No. Is the discussion of stormwater erosion sediment control ordinance. Who's firing that off? Is that you, Mr. Davis?
So at the last meeting, we talked about getting other, in that ordinance, there was ones that were highlighted that were locality specific, not the state ones, remember, that were highlighted? And that ordinance is back in your packet for this meeting as well. And so we wanted to bring back to you those numbers, and you wanted time to review whether we were going to move forward in taking this in as far as the stormwater management piece. We already do the erosion and sediment control, but the stormwater piece under the town's umbrella instead of under Prince Edward and Cumberland.
Could I ask you what the benefit of us taking this on would be for the town directly?
Yeah, we get to maintain our own, we're the ones that are doing and actually visiting the sites instead of Prince Edward uses Hurt and Profit to review the plans. Cumberland County uses Department of Environmental Quality to review the plans. So the turnover in plan review time, it will be faster, it'll be in-house. And plus, the other monitoring for the life of it is being done by either other source. and not anybody in the town of Farmville.
If my memory serves me right, you pointed that out at our last meeting as far as those savings of that part of it was concerned, but I'm talking about financially. Does it benefit us in any way, or does it cost us anything?
It's not gonna cost us, because what we're doing is we're adopting a program, it's not costing us.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's not costing us. What it's doing is that we're gonna have control. We're the ones that will control the fees that come in. We're the ones that will collect the fees for the permitting and all of that. Cost-wise, I mean, we're still utilizing staff that's on hand. They'll just get trained to do it. But it's really no different than the ENS program. We just will have a say-so on the infrastructure as well, making sure the infrastructure is the way it needs to be. We'll have a say with that instead of somebody else doing it. Then we have to repair it if it fails, but we'll be able to control the infrastructure on it, the treatment facilities of it, all that. But on our end, it's not gonna cost us anything. It's just passing an ordinance and we become the program administrator for it.
Am I correct, though, the fact of what you're saying is already in place? It's just through another entity, whereas now
Correct.
it would come through us.
Correct. Instead of Prince Edward County or the DEQ doing it, we're gonna do it. We'll do the plan reviewing of it, we'll do the enforcement of it, we'll regulate everything related to it, instead of relying on an outside entity.
Do we have the manpower to handle it in-house, or are we already reviewing that stuff?
We're already doing the site, I'm already doing all the site plan review as it is, and the stormwater is not gonna be that much of a difference. And yes, we have manpower. I've got guys that are more than qualified to go out there doing ENS inspections and stormwater inspections, and I'll oversee the program as well.
And how much quicker is the turnaround time than what we're doing now?
Well, the codes allow us like 35 to 45 days, to turn it over. A site plan could come in, they might take 45 days to review, I don't know. I can usually knock out a site plan if I got time. I can knock a site plan out in a week or two, easily.
So basically cutting it in half.
Easily, yes.
Thank you.
Do you have a plan in place as far as to possibly have other employees other than yourself trained?
Yes. I've already got a couple of staff already picked out on who I would send to these classes to get. It's a DEQ certification. They would have to be state certified through the DEQ.
And how long a period of time does that take?
The classes, for the inspector side of things, it's going to be, it's two classes, an ENS class and a stormwater class. The stormwater class, I believe, is 2 days, and the ENS classes, I think, is 2 days. So it's 4 days of training. It's an all-day event. Then they have a certain amount of time to study, and then they have to take a state exam. They have a year to take that state exam. They'll be tentatively certified taking the classes, but they have a year to study to take the state exam. Then when they take the state exam, they'll be officially certified. Then they have to maintain their certification
And how often would they have to renew their certification?
every 3 years.
Does this put extra work on Ashley's office?
On what?
On Ashley's office? Did she
no,
have
ma'am.
anything to do
No,
with
ma'am.
any of this? Okay.
No, ma'am. Matter of fact, it actually takes,
It would be the same. I'd
Right.
still sending it to somebody else for
yeah.
review.
Okay.
I'd still receive the site plan. and-
Nothing changes. The process, nothing changes except for the fact now we just oversee the stormwater side of it. On her end, she still gets permits. It still comes to me instead of going to DEQ or to Prince Edward County.
In lieu of this, if you show up with a plan, who are you paying fees to currently?
When they show up with a set of plans now, they pay our fees for like a land disturbance permit, and then they pay Prince Edward County for the stormwater stuff. And everything related to stormwater goes through Prince Edward County.
So now, if
Now
this were to pass, it would
yeah,
come
we get
through
100%
us.
of the fees,
Right,
correct,
gotcha.
except for the portion that goes to the state.
We'd be responsible, so they also have to put up a bond.
Right, and those fees would offset the employees' cost and stuff like that, which is,
That's the
that's
intent,
pretty, that
correct.
sounds like, okay, that's great.
You might want to also limit the size for a stormwater permit. It's not for every project.
No, yes, that is correct. The stormwater permit is only for permits that are disturbances that are acre or more. Anything less than an acre will not require the stormwater side of things. It would fall just under ENS.
Any additional questions at this time?
Would there be any additional record keeping other than from you? Would the town staff other than you be involved as far as, do we have to keep records for ever how long?
The only thing we keep record-wise is everything related to the stormwater stuff when it comes like the as-bills for the facilities themselves and any maintenance agreements we go on is recorded at the courthouse. That's the only thing we keep. The other staff wouldn't have to deal with it. It would be strictly the program administrator, who would be myself, has to keep the records of everything. And that all can be done electronically. They don't have to be paper.
And we're obligated by Records Retention Act to keep all those records anyway. That's a state requirement.
But we aren't presently doing that because somebody else is doing it, correct?
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was asking, whether we would be responsible for the record keeping, whereas outside, we've not had to currently do that, whereas if we adopt this tonight, we would, correct?
Yeah, I'm not looking for adoption tonight. We have to have a public hearing and all that kind of stuff. No. This is just for me to move forward so that we can get the blessing of each county to go to their board of supervisors, the county administrators, to pass a resolution allowing the town to operate their own VES&P.
Out of curiosity, suppose one of them says no.
I would be very shocked if that happened.
I'm just asking.
Prince Edward's already alluded to the fact they'd be more than happy to not have to shoulder this for us anymore, correct?
Yes.
Any additional discussions?
Yeah, so the next step is everybody in agreement for us to move forward in requesting this from the counties? If I can get just a,
Yes,
Agreement?
I am.
all right.
As long as we're going to increase having additional staff members that are qualified for it in a timely manner as well. If he gets sick and he's out for unforeseen reasons of 60 days, we've got to have somebody who's qualified to be able to do it.
Correct. The next is fees. So in your document, there were fees, and then you all wanted to look at these other fees.
I
To
think
see-
Prince Edward's looks very reasonable.
Am I right, Scott, excuse me, Dr. Davis, in the land disturbance of less than an acre, I noticed that other localities do have fees involved, whereas currently Prince Edward does not. Am I correct?
Anything less than an acre, they issue no permit, is what it says. This is ENS and stormwater review fee. Do you remember the fees that we proposed? Do you have that?
Wasn't it pretty much the same as Prince Edward County? Or right there at it?
It was $250 and then $15 per acre, a portion thereof.
I thought it was in your packet. It was supposed to be.
It's not in here. It was in last
It was
month's
supposed to.
packet.
It was supposed to be. My apologies. Do you want to come back
Can we come
to
back to
talk
this
about
next week
fees? And that's,
with the fees? Because you don't
I
have the
greatly
information in
appreciate
front
it.
of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
all right, we'll move forward then with the counties. We'll bring this back and then we'll still have time to get the fees correct and then have a public hearing in the January meeting to change the ordinance.
Yeah.
If they've already done their side by that time as well.
And I believe the fees were in our packets from last month, but they're, yeah.
Oh, the other thing we wanted to show you all, at the last meeting, we said that we were going to streamline our sheets, and so you have that in your packet, where it actually, the engineer, whomever, knows exactly what we're looking for. Spells it out on another page of the minimum standards for erosion and sediment control. All those requirements that are in the code. And it has another sheet. So when somebody pulls this, they should know what they're getting into before they ever put this in.
This would be what would be issued for a prerequisite to meet the guidelines of what we'd be laying out, correct?
Right. It's telling them what we're looking for in their plans. Stephen had spoken about that last month, and so we wanted to show you what those sheets would look like, or are going to look like, or do look like.
Any questions or discussion concerning the sheets? Not hearing any. All right, so moving forward with asking the other counties, coming back with the fees, correct? All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion of the East Third Street intersection improvement project at Persimmon Tree Fork and Millwood Road. Mr. Davis?
So we had a meeting, citizen input meeting back in October that was held at the Moton Museum. You have that in your packet. It's a summary of the comments. Just to refresh your memory, this project is somewhat based on the need to enhance that intersection, not just long-term for sure, but also in the near future for when the county does have development of the data center off of Persimmon Tree Fork Road. And so in the beginning, there were probably 4 designs. It was narrowed down to 2 for the community input at that meeting. As I said, you have the summary of those. It's kind of all, it really doesn't help you make a decision either way, because you've got people, the most is unknown, because there's some people for one and for another and against. And they're pretty equal in percentages. So the first one, just to refresh your memory, is changing the signalization. So this is a conventional improvement. What will happen is if you're coming from Millwood, there'll be a no turn on red, which is different than now. So this all has to do with safety of driving. You'll notice then on the other side of the Persimmon Tree side of East 3rd Street, you'll notice that the turn lane is enlarged. And it's added and it widens Persimmon Tree Fork Road at the beginning. And then also it adds in pedestrian crossing, which does not currently exist at that intersection. And it takes sidewalks all the way down East 3rd Street to connect with where Sun Chase currently has sidewalks. The next alternative is a roundabout. This, obviously, we've heard about roundabouts in the past, and so this would definitely make it to where there is not head-on or the type of collisions that we had. And by the way, the traffic accident is not that great. However, there have been ones that have occurred. This obviously keeps the flow of traffic moving. In not just my opinion, but also the opinion of the consultant that did this work for VDOT. This is the long-term better alternative for long-term. The first one is a short-term fix because if we ever get the interchange to be east and west changed, this alternative is better. Because if we stick with just improving the existing, it's going to have to be improved again later on down the road. So you're actually the state's going to spend money twice on this intersection instead of one time by doing it this way originally, and then still working to get the interchange.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that if we were to go the roundabout route, that it would increase the possibility of the westbound lane of 460 being brought forefront to where it may be funded quicker than if we did not.
I think it could be a piece, but we've got some other things to put into place too, like the urban development area and some other things. But yeah, I mean, it can be a piece of that as well. The difference is, I mean, and it's blatant there on the screen. I mean, they're estimating this to be between 5 and 8 million for the conventional change, and the roundabouts 12 to 15 million. This would go through the smart scale process. So there's no town funds going into this. This is, if this goes through smart scale, it gets rated and gets accepted. You're looking at just like the one that we have funded that's at Oak Griffin and High, and that's 6 years down the road from when it originally was conceived and accepted by smart scale as a project. This will be the same thing.
How do we go about, one of the things that I discussed with them that night was, and I think I talked to you a little bit about it, since Dominion is adding sidewalk on the eastbound side, getting them to go ahead and put in sidewalks all the way to Millwood Road on the eastbound side, as well as the westbound side, so that we have crossings and sidewalks on both sides. If they're going to do it, we might as well get it done right the first time. So is that something we have to request them to add, or?
We could request them to add that. There's not a guarantee that they would. The reason it's on the other side is because it's already existing today. The other, it's not. But like you said, it will be. But yeah, we could always request. Ask
That would be really nice.
Can you explain the proposed truck apron to me again?
The truck apron is just so that when trucks go around it, there's the ability for them to have more room in the circle, that they can actually drive. Part of the wheels can go on the apron and not affect anything.
Trailers have a smaller circle than it tends to cut off, and that's a little nicer.
I'm trying to figure this out because I've never seen like a tractor trailer go through a roundabout before.
Oh yeah, they go through them all the time.
So this is opposed to the one that we are going to build up on High Street, in that area. This is a 2-lane roundabout for most of it, correct? That's a 1 lane up here.
Yes, this is showing 2.
Is a, not necessarily meant to be a negative comment, but that is, having driven through a few 2-lane ones, that's a kind of a different animal than the 1 lane. Just a little bit more getting used to it, I think.
Just stay in your lane.
Don't go until it's your turn.
So this is one that we would need to do if we really wanted to take care of that 460.
Like I said, I think it's a piece. It's a small piece of many for them it takes a lot more to get that interchange done than just this. What I'm saying is, long term, they're going to spend more. I've had this argument with VDOT in meetings for the last, I don't know how many months. They currently have a pot of money. And so I'm not saying they're picking one over the other, but it's easier to get rated in smart scale on the first one, right? Because of the pot of money that they have. And that's great. But they're not looking at the long-term big picture, in that when they go to have to do this down the road, it's not going to be 15 million then. It's going to be 30 million then. So if you do it the first time, but they're not looking at that. They're looking at solely right now the pot of money that they have, the region, at this point in time. Not.
In my humble opinion, I firmly believe it would not hurt a thing to favor the roundabout. This is me personally talking, in hopes that it would entice the feasibility of the westbound lane being developed 10 years down the road, 5 years, 20 years, whatever.
I mean, all we do, they just want to know which one do we want to move forward with. So they got to do, once we do that, you all do that, then it goes to another phase, right? And then at that phase, there's like, this is just preliminary engineering. Then they'll go to like, don't take this for 100%, like 20% plans or whatever, and it goes into smart scale. And they look at it to whether it gets funded. It may not get funded out of the projects that are submitted. We might be submitting this again to smart scale in 2 years from now. But my point is that this is a better alternative in the long run to do it once instead of doing it again later on when the interchange is done.
When you say that this is a piece of getting the westbound, can you elaborate on that? What else do we need to do on that side of town, generally speaking, in order to get
Well,
that?
one, it really doesn't depend on us as a town really at all because it's in the county. They actually have to submit for that. This helps the county's submittal. But the other is we need to, I think we've talked about this in prior meetings as well, it's changed names. It's not a designated growth area for that. That gives us points in smart scale for that to rise to be in the running.
Which also, just looking at the roundabout diagram, wouldn't it make sense at this point, if that was the route we decided to go, to put the crosswalks on both sides, especially going between the Farmville dental and then over to the vacant area, which we hope to have a dental development area in, I imagine. You see how this, the crosswalk is to the, let me do the math, what is that, to the east of it? It's on the east. So wouldn't we want to put in a west side one too to grow into if we were going to this condition?
That's something for the next phase of this, that you can submit those types of requests in the drawings. Right now, it's which concept do you want to move forward with, not necessarily all the further details. And if you don't want to go in for this evening, that's fine. I mean, but they're looking so that they know which way to move forward.
How's everybody feeling about the roundabout?
Do you need a motion?
I mean, just get some affirmative consensus. You'd like a motion? Yeah. You like?
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt alternative to the roundabout.
Second.
Motion and second. Any additional discussion at this time? Ms. Vaughn, can you just do a roll call vote for me? Thank you.
Ms. Amos?
I hate a roundabout, but if this is going to develop what we need it to happen, then I'll say yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Yoland?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
And Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
And just like any of the other projects, so when they get this further along, we'll actually have to have a public hearing so that people can come and then submit it fully for the smart scale. That it goes through the same process as anything else. They just need to know which one to move forward with that we want to see move forward in that process.
Just don't read the Facebook comments. Next up on the agenda is streetlights. Mr. Davers, you starting us off on streetlights?
I was going to sing a song, but I won't. Yes, so I did meet with Dominion. This is just a recap of some of that meeting to give you all and to give you some homework after this so you can actually go take a look at different LED lights in town. But just to give you some highlights. So on the left side, you'll see on each of these slides is going to be your high pressure sodium, and on the right side is going to be your LED fixtures of the ones that they have. At the bottom, you'll see that there's a light pattern. So one of the things is that LED does more of a oval light pattern in most circumstances. This is not really the key issue right now of these. This is just to give you an idea of how the next slides follow. Just to lead off, we currently have 662 lights in the town of Farmville. Of those, 150 have been changed to the Cobra 250. I'll get to that in a minute. 2 have been changed to Cobra 70. 4 are open vertical, and you'll see those in the slides in a little bit. And then the other is basic Acorn. So we have 4 open vertical and 4 basic Acorn of the 662 in town. So these are your decorative lights that are. I don't know where the directional flood is, but that's what they say. We have 3 of those. Not really sure where those are. I didn't look into that too deeply. This is the biggest, I guess, topic of the conversation. So currently, there's of the ones that are left of the 662, there's 563 that are 250 watt, 3 150 watt, 1 100 watt, and 170 watt. And then to the right, you'll see that Cobra has comparable wattage. So let's talk a little bit before we get any further about when we're talking about brightness and temperature of lights. All right. So for LEDs, the lumens measure a light bulb's brightness. So the higher the lumen count, indicating brighter light. And then there's Kelvin, which is the temperature. Kelvin measures the light's color temperature on a scale from warm, which is like a yellowish, to a cool, which is more bluish. So an example is a 100-watt equivalent LED might have 1,600 lumens. And a 2,700 Kelvin color temperature for a warm, soft light. While an LED with the same brightness could have a 5,000 Kelvin color temperature for a cooler, more energizing light. So we're talking about lumen is brightness, Kelvin is temperature. So when you're looking at these, you have to look at both of those of what we're trying to do: the brightness of the light and the temperature of the light. So I'm not a lighting engineer. Next is there's some enclosed high sodium. We have 4 of the 250 watt. The open vertical looks like this. Those are primarily found over the 4 new ones. If you want to look at those, go over to Cedar Avenue. They're in like a development over there, not on an actual street. So here's the existing LEDs, like I said, that we currently have. We have the open vertical, and then we have the Cobra. We have 2 70-watt and 150, 250 watt of the Cobra. So go, if you want to see 2 of the 70 watt, go to the train station. There's 2 there of the 70 watt LED. For the 250 watt, which we have 150 of, I'm going to give you a plethora of places. So if you want to write them down, feel free. One is right out here on the corner of High Street off of Main, right there. And if you want to go check out the storm tunnel, there's one at Venable and Madison. So you can see one there as well. There's one at Gillum and Jesse's Way. So at that intersection, it's in a neighborhood. Some other neighborhoods that have them, go to Hurd and 2nd Avenue. They have this. Park Avenue and Glen Street. So go to different areas within the town to look in these neighborhoods. There's one at Oak Street between Appomattox and Grove. There's one at Hill Street at Franklin. And Cedar and Orchard. So that'll give you a few different areas around town that these actually exist. And then, of course, we know the one that's on First Avenue. But so go look so that you know you'll be able to see the brightness and the temperature of those. 2 different versions.
Dr. Davis, since you have that list written down, could you please forward those intersections to us? That would be, please.
Sure, I'll email them to you tomorrow.
That would be awesome.
Yep. I mean, there's 150 of them, but I just chose some in different areas.
There's not any that are next to each other, a 70 and a 250. Any place we could actually compare the 2 side by side?
No. No, not side by side. And then, of course, these are the basic Acorn. These were put in actually on Jesse's Way when that road, remember, several years ago, there was no lights. So these were put in on that street several years ago. They're LED. but they're the Acorn lights, not the overhead lights, and they're 150 equivalent, 150 equivalent. So, if you look at wattage, like a 250 watt is equivalent to a 3,000, according to Dominion, a 3,000 Kelvin. A 70 watt is going to be a little bit lower than that. So that's just food for thought for you all. I'll get your feedback, and then I can have an additional meeting with Dominion from those conversations of, I think once you see them in different areas, you'll be able to see the difference of that.
Did you have a opportunity to question them about the blinds, the slots on these Cobra lights that can deflect the light in certain areas where they end up going into people's homes instead of on the sidewalks and streets where they're supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, that they did that in the presentation. There's only rear and side, not the front.
And there's nothing new coming down the pike that would actually help people.
Not that I know of from the front.
Bummer.
That's all I have about streetlights.
Any additional discussion at this time? All right. Mr. Davis, do you have a town manager's report?
Just to give you a little heads up. So next week, you got a public hearing on the airport tenant leases. Again, we've met with them. I'm not saying they're 100% happy, but
85?
Maybe. One of the sticking points is they don't want to put in insurance other than their aircraft insurance, and aircraft insurance doesn't cover in mine, and Gary's not here to speak for himself. He will be next week. But that it doesn't cover unless the aircraft's in operation, and it's not in operation if it's sitting in the hangar, and if it's outside the hangar being flown and something happens to the hangar while they're out, that there needs to be some type of coverage because it does affect the tenant next door. So that's a sticking point. That's really the main sticking point, I think, that I've seen in this so far. The rest of them, I feel like we've met when we met with them. But you'll have that public hearing next week. The public hearing on the PPEA, and then a public hearing on a conditional use permit, which is one you've already heard on the storage, proposed storage facility on Perry Drive. They did a change, but Planning Commission had passed that at their last meeting. And so you'll have that as a public hearing. And then tomorrow is our Christmas lunch at the sports arena from 11:30 to 1. So please come join and wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Hanukkah, all the above.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Hardy?
Just one little thing. I kind of would like to congratulate one of our local folks, local resident, local business owner. Anastasia Cyphers took her oath of citizenship this morning, and she's also married to Luther Cyphers, who is our state senator. And I think that's pretty awesome, and it's a pretty moving experience. I've been there for other ones, and it's pretty awesome. And I just want to say congratulations on that.
Mr. Hunter?
Any update on the restrooms at the Splash Park?
No, we've had the individual actually cancel on us twice, right? So we're going to try to find somebody else. The goal is we're trying to find somebody that's not going to actually bid on the project, right, to make it fair. So
Mr. Yolen?
Can we go back to my idea about putting it on a boat, the restroom, in a flood zone? I think it's possible. Nothing else, sir.
Mr. Parrott?
I have nothing to say.
Mr. Dwyer?
Not a thing.
Mr. Reed?
Not a thing.
Ms. Amos?
Nothing, right?
I don't have anything either. We are in the season. Downtown looks great, lit up with lights. It's a joyous time. We got our tree up in the house the other day. It's good to spread a little joy here at the end of the season as we come to close out this calendar year. I believe we have a closed session, and then I don't think we'll have much business coming out of it, and then we'll close up the meeting at the end. But Mr. Hardy, will you read us into the closed session, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Farmville Town Council convene in closed meeting pursuant to the Code of Virginia in accordance with the provisions of paragraph A29 of Section 2.2-3711, discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Vaughn, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
And Ms. Amos?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll see you after the closed session.
I don't know why, and then all of a sudden it started working again, but it wouldn't work. It just all of a sudden stopped working. I'm like, yeah, I guess we gotta have a duplicate.
Streetlights gonna be, the nice. I'm about to fall asleep over here. Spot lights and street lights and sidewalks. It sounds like a pain.
Luckily, that one has nothing to do with us.
Or me as well, so. Y'all have a good night. What are you doing, man? Y'all always, y'all like the kids on the back of the car. That's right. Stay out of trouble with that, dude. Let's try this.
See you tomorrow.
Man, is it ever trying to get failing to get that? Now I've got dental now, it's got me worried, so I know that's gonna be, that's not something we can fix. So that it's a storm. Oh, it's a massive structure. It's like 75 feet. It goes all the way up, well, it's from, our section goes from Madison to Denver, about 200 feet with claps. Cuts 45, cuts right in between, like First Bank and the parking lot, goes right up underneath there, into Main, now falls into that channel, concrete channel behind the Baptist church. Goes up underneath the fourth, comes back across, and that all falls in the first area, so it kind of gets this angle, and then you got the bridge right here, it's like, so we're having so we're gonna have I sent out an RFP today, and have a structural engineer, and I'll walk that whole system, and try to figure out what's going on, to see what we need to do. It's a 100-year-old system. Yeah. Our guys can't fix it. We are in
stores.
Yeah, we can do all of that. Like I said, I want to do a design standard, and of course, obviously, we'll follow by the same design standard, but I want to do design standards for the town. That's what actually I've been talking about, like, fires can be included when it comes to, and that's the thing I was gonna tell you about too, when we start putting forward this, is that I would like to eventually go with, like, especially with the site plan review process, is to have you do, and I can actually pull up the invoice that is still up there, and kind of show you what they had as a checklist for fire marshal looked at, and it basically, they got into details about placement of signage language, striping, widths of your pavements, your radiuses of cul-de-sacs and everything. And I can get that to you if you would like, you can look at it, do it in standard. Because I am pushing for standards. That's why you saw those sheets up there, that's for standards, because I'm tired of people that, build all, no, I believe in standard. If you do it one way, obviously, there's going to be some exceptions to the rule, but everything's pretty much standardized. But I would want to be able to get that to you. I'm sure then we got to put the checklist and the language and everything like that. I'll send that over to you. Fire Marshal did it there. And as I even gave that to Ben Rupert over at Hopewell. When we were creating standards in Hopewell. And I gave that to him, and he changed the modified for Hopewell. And I can look for you too, because I mean, now that we have a full-time fire department, and you're the one that oversees all of that, that'd be a great opportunity for you to create standards. I couldn't create a gap detail, you can have somebody show them that they have to have to do it for their businesses. So we can talk about all of that. I'm trying, my goal is this year to start pushing for standardization and design. But I'm not playing these infrastructure with failing in it. But that's what I'm pushing for. I'm trying my best to bring a engineering on into this public works, to the town. That's what I'm working for. I think that if we can all work together and come up with that, I think that would be a great idea.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you deal with them yet, but I didn't realize until Rob pointed out a lot of activity. How many hydrants are in town that still have a square nut?
I haven't paid attention to
A lot of them downtown, they have a square nut on top and on the caps.
Oh, wow.
And the way I was explaining many years ago, the town at the time did not want other departments coming in town using their hydrants. So they put in hydrants that had a square nut on them, and they had a special wrench to open those hydrants.
Why would we want that? You want to,
So this is, that's our thinking now, but this is, how many years ago?
Well, when somebody actually doesn't want public safety to help them out of things. So they were to put a building to fly, so another apparatus or another department can't help you. I thought the whole purpose of fire departments is to help each other out. Well, that's politics with it, right there. So do y'all have that special wrench?
So now I'll say most of the adjustable ones will fit it, but even some of them, we can do a pipe wrench on the truck, because it doesn't take much to round that square one off.
So all of that stuff is?
And I looked at trying to get them converted, not convert the caps, but then just convert the top stem. This will cost, I think, about $500 per hydrant to do the caps. Like, okay, we'll gradually start doing something, but then you still got the operator nut on top. And I don't know how you go about replacing that. So that's attached to the stem, and
Well, by the time you start doing that, you can also replace the whole hydrant.
that's right.
You would have to look into eventually maybe doing it a little bit at a time, a couple hydrants here and there, just replace the hydrants every time.
Yeah.
Maybe that might be something we can look into, all the games for that. Get a general idea of where they all are, how many we have, and see what it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all need to put anything on the budget. Hey, let's do it. And you trying to be mean, I don't know.
I got no problem with
Yeah,
that.
but
If they come in
seriously.
a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, if we've got, I mean, it would be a lot, I think it'd be a lot wiser to convert it from because when you start, every second counts when it comes to fires and stuff like that, so I mean, it doesn't hurt to do that. I mean, we can look at doing that, maybe get a count one day and see how many we actually have.
So they, well, I still have, but I got Rob to give you a count, because whoever goes around and checks all the hydrants, they made a note, which is how many it was.
Yeah, I'd ask Kathy, see if they know, or she.
I think whoever it was, I don't even know who checks them, I know somebody
do is maybe put them in a grid, do this section here, and this section here, just kind of work it out. Look where maybe get your more critical areas. More high attributes. Higher densities or higher critical areas, and then work your way out. Yeah, so. We'll say, wherever they tell me, and they get down, we can get that fixed.
What is it up here? I guess, they were on Main, across from ball fields. I guess just this side of the cemetery. A lot of times might have come in, there's a wet spot. On the, kind of in the curve. And it runs down and into a storm drain.
I don't know.
Now, I've seen that before. I don't know why, I didn't think about it tonight when I passed through. I was like, no wonder why that wet spot is there.
I don't know if there's any utilities sitting in there. Usually we see constant
Yeah,
condensation, there's a leakage.
but there's nothing there. You get a cemetery and this little grass, kind of
Is
field
there
there.
a cemetery?
Yeah.
So,
All
she
spots.
says like, that's terrible. I apologize. Draining all the souls into the drain.
I would be wrong, everybody's. So get rid of it all.
I don't know, that's a good question, I've never seen it, and I haven't paid attention to that. I have to look at that next time I'm out there, see what's going on. Well, there, what's that?
Parkville.
You know, so, how you in there?
I don't know if they'll do closed sessions, those kind of closed sessions, private meetings, so.
Their fire chief.
That's what I kind of thought, but Scott didn't tell me to come to the meeting, so. I figured I'd get told about it when they get out. So they have to, the PPTA, we select the contract that we go with. Downtown will present that to council, so they tell them about it. And I think he's gonna kind of show the design and what their projected cost was on the building. But then from now, 30 days, well, next week, 30 days to come up with the contract. with them.
Jack, you having fun?
Mm-hmm.
She said,
This line, just still on, so they can still hear. But nobody's watching. Nobody, I think everybody got off of Facebook.
So closed sessions, and go online there.
his road done and get a good base down, and then pave once he gets the majority of the houses done. Now he's doing sections, I didn't know all those insurance before he did.
Yeah. I don't know if he has to use the full choice, it's some sold, maybe.
I mean, that's the only thing I'm thinking of, is that he's paving it as it goes along, but the problem is that, number one, you're calling him right after the inspector stuff, and number two, he's doing the new one. He didn't pave, now what he's doing now, it's smooth. Now you're gonna have
tell me.
Yeah, that would be great.
You ain't bring everybody back with you. Always cold.
Mr. Hardy, will you read us back in, please?
Whereas the Farmville Town Council has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Farmville Town Council that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Farmville Town Council hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Farmville Town Council.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Vaughn, could you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Yolen, Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
and Miss Amos.
Yes.
Thank you.